Umpires for the ball game this afternoon: behind the plate, Lanny Harris, Eddie Montague out at first base, Lee Wire at second, and Dutch Rennert will handle the duties over at third base. San Francisco Giants pitching staff now leads the major leagues with a 2.42 earned run average. A beautiful afternoon, probably the best day of the 3 that we've had here in San Francisco. Temperatures around 21 degrees Celsius. That's about 72 degrees. Not as much breeze as we've had, and a good day for a baseball game, Ken.
And there you take a look at Mike Krukow, who has been fantastic for the Giants. His ERA is 1.72, which places him in 3rd place in the league this year, and he's done a fine job, and we'll take a look at the lineup that he's going to be facing.
Well, the lineup that Bob Rogers has made out for the Expos, 34 different lineups have been used by Bob. Some of those lineups have been changed because of injuries. That's the way it looks in the ball game. 3rd game of this 3-game series. Raines in the leadoff spot, followed by UL Washington at shortstop. Hubie Brooks getting the day off. He's been in there most of the time. He's healthy, though. Terry Francona back out there in right field. Dan Driessen back in the lineup after missing a few games with a jammed wrist. Tim Wallach at third base. Vance Law moves from first over to second base. Winningham in center field. Sal Butera doing the catching. Butera in there. Mike Fitzgerald bothered by a tender right shoulder, but again, Mike ready to play, but they feel with giving him the day off in this game, a day off that the Expos have tomorrow, he'll be ready Friday in Philadelphia. Mickey Mahler on the mound, and of course Mike Krukow with a 4-3 record will be doing the pitching for the San Francisco Giants. The veteran, 6'4", 205-pounder, 33 years old. And as Bob Miller said, a 500 pitcher. Even though he's been a good one, he's been right around that 500 mark. His lifetime record, 3 games under 500. 84 wins, 87 losses.
Timmy Raines will lead it off today, as usual.
And the first pitch of the ball game is in there for a strike. 0-1 to Raines. Raines having a good trip, has a 6-game hitting streak. And he's hit .324 on this road trip. He gets jammed and gives Uribe a chance, and he can't come up with it. The ball falls in shallow left center field. Timmy Raines, a bloop single.
Batting second, number 1, shortstop
Uribe fighting the sun and a little bit of wind today, and he can't quite get to as the ball falls in front of Dan Gladden. He overruns it, but is able to hold Tim Raines at first base with a base hit.
Raines took a wide turn at first base, but elected to stay there. Gladden quickly retrieved the ball. So Tim Raines keeps his hitting streak alive, now at 7. UL Washington steps in, and about the only other guy, as well as Raines, who's had a good road trip. UL takes a strike. UL hitting over 400 on the trip. But there are a few Expos who've not been swinging the bat well out here in the West Coast. Here's the 0-1 pitch to UL. 1-1. Raines on at first base. Washington the hitter.
Might be interesting to see how often Krukow does use that slow curveball that they're trying to get him away from. It's more or less a pitch that sets up the other ones now.
Raines took a couple of bluff steps and then stayed at first base. And to count to UL 2-1. There's the lead by Raines. Rob Deere getting his second start at first base for the Giants.
Krukow, control-type pitcher.
There's that good fastball that Bob Miller's been working on with Mike Krukow.
76 innings this year. He's only walked 17 men while striking out 59. So he's going to throw the ball over the plate. You have to swing the bats to beat him.
And there's that 500 record even against the Expos. There goes Raines. UL sends it right through the vacated hole on the left side. Timmy sliding into third base, and the Expos get something going early. Runners at first and third for Terry Francona.
Number 16, right fielder Terry Francona.
Raines takes off, and this is the perfect hit-and-run execution as UL lines it right through the hole in the left field. The hole that was vacated by shortstop Jose Uribe as he went to cover second. The Expos are in business.
Well, that's the perfect way to do it. See the shortstop covering on the Raines steal, and UL was able to hit it through that left side. A lot of room over there. Terry Francona will step in. Takes a strike from Krukow.
Got Terry out in right field today.
Terry had a double in 4 trips. Make that a single. Yesterday's ball game on Tuesday. So Krukow will have to keep Washington close at the bag at first.
Again, another good contact hitter up for the Expos, Terry Francona. Expos probably have their 2 fastest runners on the bases right now. Could look for UL to break for second.
And he does. Francona sends one to the first baseman, Deere. He wisely checks Raines at third. Timmy, with nobody out, decided not to go. Francona's retired at first base, but because Washington was on the move, he's at second. 1 away for Dan Driessen.
Number 22, first baseman Dan Driessen.
Now, right away we come to a situation, second and third and 1 out. The number 4 hitter up, Dan Driessen. A base open, a right-handed hitting Tim Wallach on deck.
Dan swinging at the first pitch. Sends one to left field. Raines will be tagging. Jeff Leonard with the throw. No play at the plate. Timmy Raines scores. The Expos take a 1-0 lead. Sacrifice fly by Dan Driessen, RBI number 17.
Interesting stat on Dan Driessen. Over his 10-year career in the major leagues, in situations just as these with men on third and less than 2 outs, he has driven that man in 2 out of 3 times over a 10-year period. That's a pretty good ratio.
Sure is. Veteran Dan Driessen, who's back in the lineup. Last time Dan was in the lineup, he was a pinch hitter in Los Angeles. Game 2 of the Dodger series. Washington at second, Wallach the hitter. Breaking ball outside. So the Expos strike first. Montreal scored first in game 2 of this series. Tim Raines scored the run. Sacrifice fly went to Vance Law. Strike 1 to Timmy.
We mentioned at the top of the show that Tim Wallach had been struggling a little bit. He is 6 for 37 on the current road trip. 162 average.
Slow roller for Uribe. High and wide with the throw, but Rob Deere stays on the bag. And the Montreal Expos in the first inning get a run on 2 base hits. No errors. 1 runner was left. The sacrifice fly by Dan Driessen bringing home the run. After a half inning of play at Candlestick Park, the Expos won, and the Giants coming to bat. This is Expo Baseball on TSN.
Chrysler goes 1 better. Barry Hill got an automatic at no extra cost, plus 9.9% financing. With the $1,400 he saved, he got the big canoe. And Bobby McCall is on the road with Chrysler 9.9% financing. While the $801,000 that Gino and Phil saved can be passed on to their customers, right? Low 9.9% financing and cash discounts on just about everything. Chrysler goes 1 better.
Back in San Francisco, Tommy Hutton with Ken Singleton. As we mentioned, a beautiful day at Candlestick. Temperatures in the low 70s. Some fans enjoying the atmosphere at the stadium. An early start in San Francisco. A lot of day games the Giants play. Mickey Mahler will be on the mound for the Montreal Expos, a veteran left-hander. Taking his warm-up tosses, and this is the lineup the Giants will send out there. Their manager, Jim Davenport, has Dan Gladden in the leadoff spot, Manny Trio, Chili Davis. Jeff Leonard is in left field. Rob Deere gets his second start in a row at first base. Chris Brown, Alex Trevino, Jose Uribe, and Mike Krukow. And for Mickey Mahler, this is his first major league start since 1982. Mickey relieved in Los Angeles, worked 3 innings, gave up 3 unearned runs. So his second appearance since being called up from Indianapolis.
Mickey Mahler had a record of 4-1 at Indianapolis down in AAA and is 12-24 lifetime in the major leagues. As you can see, the Giants have been tearing up left-handers at least.
And they're getting a steady diet of left-handers from the Expos. The Expos have, in this series, thrown 3 left-handers. Joe Hesketh in the first game, Dan Schatzeder, and now Mickey Mahler. And I was talking with Expo publicist Rich Griffin, trying to look back in the history and find out when the last time the Expos had 3 lefties in a row on the mound, and he wasn't quite sure, but it's been a while. Look back and you think of teams that had Bill Lee, Ross Grimsley, Rudy May, Woody Fryman, so there were some times, but not very often have the Expos thrown 3 lefties in a row, and the Giants are seeing them right here.
Well, what we might look for today from Mickey Mahler is a lot of breaking balls, slow curveball, changes speeds. Got a hard curveball that he uses. Probably keep his fastball away from the right-handed hitters, going for the ground balls, and he's going to have to keep the ball down in the strike zone to be successful today against the San Francisco Giants.
Well, the big left-hander goes to work. Gladden swinging at the first pitch. Winningham right there, 1 away.
That's the 3rd time in 2 days that Dan Gladden has hit a ball to Herm Winningham. Might want to try somebody else out there. He's caught every one.
Well, he's not trying to pull it. And I talked with the Giants batting instructor, Tom McGraw, about some of their hitters who are struggling, and said that's been their biggest problem. They're all trying to pull the ball too much. So if Gladden and guys like Jeff Leonard can get away from that, their averages and their home run production will improve. Manny Trio, the hitter. Call strike to Trio.
Well, maybe one of the reasons why the Giants are having pretty good success against left-handers, Manny Trio. He's hitting .286 against left-handed pitching this year. Gee, I didn't even know that was coming up on the screen.
ESP.
Our producer and director, Billy McCoy, Brian Schechter, they're right on the nose. We're getting to think like a team.
You spend a lot of time in California and start thinking like that, thinking together. 1-2 to Trio. You know, Mahler, who's not overpowering, with a good curveball, though, before his recall from Indianapolis, was leading the American Association in strikeouts. Had 51 strikeouts, 61 1/3 innings. There's the big curveball. 2-2 to Trio.
They call that a jug handle curve, Tom.
The old jug. Off the table. Two and two, and it goes 3-2 to Manny Trio. No, Mickey Mahler had 8 starts at Indianapolis. And Buck Rogers feels that Mahler would be more valuable in the starting rotation, has had better success than he's had out of the bullpen. Here's a 3-2 pitch to Trio. Inside, ball 4.
Mahler's going to have to get that breaking ball over to keep the Giant hitters off balance. He can't survive on just his fastball alone. He's not overpowering.
6'3", 190 pounds. And he's 32 years of age. The elder brother of Rick Mahler with the Atlanta Braves, who's having a good season. Rick Mahler now 8-5. He's tailed off just a bit.
Well, here's one of the Giants who's been hitting very well. Chili Davis, 7 of his last 8 games, hitting at a .333 pace over those 8 ball games.
Fastball fouled out of play. 0-1 to Chili Davis.
He's leading the Giants with 6 home runs and 25 RBIs. All 6 of his home runs have been hit left-handed. Switch hitting Davis, hitting right-handed today.
Yeah, he's getting some right-handed at-bats in this series. Big curveball. He didn't go after it. 1-1.
And last year, Chili hit 21 home runs, and 19 of those were hit left-handed. So he has shown more propensity for going deep from the left-hand side of the plate.
He's shown what?
Don't ask me to say it again.
Off the fists to the shortstop, UL Washington.
We better look that up. I'm not sure if it's right.
Batting fourth.
Sounded great. 2 away, Jeff Leonard, the hitter. This is the main guy that Tommy McGraw, their batting coach, was talking about. Jeff Leonard, he said he's just trying to pull everything. His rhythm is off at the plate. He doesn't have, and we talk about rhythm with pitchers. Well, it's the same thing at the plate, and he doesn't have it right now.
He has been struggling, only 2 for his last 21. And he's hit the ball a little bit better. He had some bad luck on Tuesday, hitting 2 balls just foul. One would have been a home run, and another would have been an extra base, probably a double down the left field line.
Well, a little bit opposite here in 1985 against lefties. Pitch to Leonard. Ball 1.
Well, all 3 of his home runs this year have come against left-handed pitching, so the Expos have given him a steady diet of some of the pitchers that he likes to hit against.
Mickey Mahler showing us his move to first base. Notice the hat on Dan Driessen. Doesn't that look just right? You know, Dan gave his hat away in Los Angeles and then didn't play a few games and had to borrow a hat. And I've mentioned that I throw a little batting practice every now and then, and Dan reached in my bag and took my hat.
Yeah, it did look like it was. It looked like it was very little used.
Well, the hat's got an RBI in it so far. Foul back by Leonard. 2-1.
Tell you what, if he has a real good day, he might not get it back.
I may never see that thing again. Speaking of left-handers, when the Expos travel to Philadelphia, and we will have the Friday game for you on TSN, Expos will see some lefties in Philadelphia. Steve Carlton and then Shane Raleigh.
The lefty.
The lefty.
On Friday. I wonder if Mahler is aware of the fact that Manny Trio did not attempt to steal a base all last season. You know, sometimes the players, they like to read the statistics, but that might have been one he overlooked.
Might have missed that one. Here's a 2-1 pitch to Leonard. High in the air. This one will be fun to watch in San Francisco. Vance Law over in foul territory makes the catch. A good play by the Expos second baseman. Long way to go for Vance, and he retires Jeff Leonard on the pop-up. That's it for the Giants in the first. No runs, no hits, no errors, 1 left. After 1, Montreal 1, San Francisco nothing. This is Expo Baseball on TSN.
They've given you the advantage and only moments to make it count. There's no second best for you in the game you play or the beer you choose.
And now, the new OV24 pack of aluminum cans. It travels light, opens up easy, cools down fast. For 24s of aluminum cans.
When Petro-Canada looked for a better way to maintain offshore rigs, the job went to Canadians. This is Deep Rover, a world-class submarine that can turn giant valves on the ocean floor and make deep water repairs a lot easier. Petro-Canada's 2-year exploration contract helped make Deep Rover a commercial reality, creating new jobs and new markets for Canadian technology.
From the energy frontier to the station around the corner, we put Canada first.
There you have the San Francisco Giants defense. Leonard, Gladden, and Chili Davis in the outfield. It was the top offensive outfield in the National League in 1984, struggling a bit offensively this year, but they can go get them in the outfield. Chris Brown, Jose Uribe, Manny Trillo, and Rob Deere in the infield. Mike Krukow on the mound. Alex Trevino behind the plate. Tuesday's scoreboard, there's a Giant Expos score. The San Diego Padres defeated the Phillies by 1. Chicago over Atlanta. St. Louis got 4 hits and 3 stolen bases out of Vince Coleman, beating Houston 6-1. The Mets and Dwight Gooden beat Los Angeles. Cincinnati over Pittsburgh. Mario Soto picked up his 8th win in that game. Pete Rose a couple of more hits.
Dwight Gooden, 12 strikeouts.
12 strikeouts. He also had his first game getting 3 hits himself, so he proved that he can swing the bat a little bit too. Vance Law leading it off for the Expos, top of the 6th. 1-0 to Vance. Foul back. Count goes 1-1. Swing and a miss on a good pitch by Krukow. And the veteran right-hander ahead of Law, 1-2.
Take a look at the unusual way that Dan Gladden sets up before a pitch, and now he straightens up, but he does that practically before every pitch gets down in that runner's start. Chili Davis
making the play. Why would he set up with his back to the right fielder? He's not really setting up with his body square to home plate.
I think everybody has their own way of doing things, especially outfielders who have a lot of time to kill, so they...
Now, be honest. How many times were you in the outfield and started thinking about how you were hitting as opposed to playing a defensive position?
You have time to daydream out there. You don't have many friends to talk to.
You can wander a little bit, yeah. Especially in center field. You don't even have any bleacher fans around. Herman Winningham, the hitter. Now the Expos scoring in the first inning. Mike Krukow with the 3rd best earned run average in the National League, 1.78. Runs are tough to come by off Krukow. Popped up, 3rd baseman. Chris Brown, 2 away. You know, talking with your conversation that you had with Bob Miller, Giant starters, the worst earned run average of the 4 Giant starters is Atlee Hammaker, and his is at 2.77. So they have done a job.
I think it's more of an indication that the Giants just don't score runs. And it makes it more important for the opposition not to kick games away as the Expos did on Tuesday against the Giants.
Expos did give a few runs away. Sal Butera fouls the first pitch back. And when you do that, and when you have a hitter like Andre Dawson out of the lineup, it just makes it tougher. Hopefully Andre will be back in there Friday night in Philadelphia. Another play for Chris Brown, throw across the diamond. And that's it for Butera. In the 2nd inning, the Expos go out in order. After an inning and a half, the Expos won, the Giants nothing. This is Expo Baseball on TSN.
Join us Wednesday, June 5th, starting at 9 Eastern for a very special live edition of Top Rank Boxing, along with an 8-round junior welterweight fight and a 12-round USBA lightweight title fight. Canada's own Willie DeWitt will be featured in a 6-round heavyweight fight as he takes on New York's Sterling Benjamin. It's an action-packed card, and it's live from Atlantic City, Wednesday, June 5th, starting at 9 Eastern. Top Rank Boxing, seen exclusively on the Sports Network.
Montreal defense. Defense for the Expos has Timmy Raines, Herman Winningham, Terry Francona. In the outfield, Wallach, Washington, Law, and Driessen. Mahler on the mound, Butera behind the plate. I was reading an interesting thing today, Ken, about New York Yankee pitcher Ed Whitson. He's off to such a poor start with the Yankees, having signed as a free agent after a fine year with the San Diego Padres. And Whitson is carrying a gun to the ballpark. He's had some encounters with the fans at Yankee Stadium, and he's a little scared.
In the Bronx, New York, something like that would happen?
Speaking of the Yankees, there's a look at our American League scoreboard for Tuesday. Toronto keeps playing good baseball with a 5-game lead now over the Baltimore Orioles. California in 15 over Baltimore. Boston shutting out Cleveland. Seattle and Detroit score. Oakland with a shutout over the Yankees. Dave Kingman hit a home run in that one. And Kansas City winners over Milwaukee. Texas keeps playing pretty good baseball for Bobby Valentine. Winners over Chicago. Charlie Huff defeated Tom Seaver in that one. So I guess with Ed Whitson, a 1-5 record and a 6.07 earned run average, that has prompted some of the Bronx fans to get a little restless. Rob Deere, the hitter. Mahler works.
Rob Deere, a strong man, 6'3", 210-pounder out of Orange, California. Works in his father's construction business in the off-season.
He looks like it.
Yeah, he towed a few bricks and 2x4s. Right now, he's probably swinging about a 35-inch bat.
It's like he's wheeled around a few barrels of cement. 0-2 for Rob Deere.
He's got a lot of power.
Sure does. 4 of his first 5 major league hits were home runs. There's the curveball.
Again,
trying to get him to chase it. He didn't go after it.
Again, he's missing with it, though. He has to get that ball over consistently today. What it does when he gets that pitch over, it keeps the hitters off balance. It's a slow curveball, makes his fastball look that much faster, and a change of speeds is what bothers hitters the most. Right there.
Again, that one was a strike, and it was fouled off.
Deere
stays 1-2.
Deere was way out in front. I always thought as a hitter, Tommy, that no matter how hard a pitcher threw, if he consistently threw every pitch to the plate with the same speed, you're going to catch up to it eventually. But if the pitcher will change speeds, keep you off balance, you don't know what to look for, makes it that much more difficult to hit.
That's why Dwight Gooden continues to be successful with the good fastball, but he's got an excellent curveball, and he's throwing a better changeup this year. Deere hits this one well to left field. Raines on the move. Just out of play. Might have gotten in on Rob Deere just a little, but he's strong enough. He still muscled it a long ways down the left field line.
In fact, he broke his bat, Tommy. He's picking up a new bat from the bat boy. Mahler comes inside with a fastball, and Deere is quick enough and strong enough. He gets jammed and still almost hits this out of the ballpark, breaks his bat.
Notice the power he gets from his lower body, the hips and the legs, as well as the arms and the chest area. Big, strong guy, Rob Deere. Now he goes after a good jug. Strikeout number 1 for Mahler.
After the fastball inside, he comes back with a slow curveball, and Deere, been known to strike out in the past, takes a big hack at the slow hook and is going back.
Now that's the one he can get in there with 2 strikes. It was out of the strike zone by the time Deere swung at it, but it's a tough pitch to lay off when you have 2 strikes on you. Chris Brown, the hitter. I'd have to classify Mickey Mahler as a survivor. He's been around. He originally signed with the Atlanta Braves. And not many guys battle back as many times as Mickey Mahler has. He's been released 3 times in his career. Inside with that pitch, 1-1 to Chris Brown. He was released back in 1980 by the Braves. He was released by the Angels in '83, and he's released in March by the Mets. So he's hung in there, he's battled, and you have to like a guy like this who's stayed in the game and hasn't had the greatest of careers, but he keeps battling, and he's up in the major leagues starting a game. 2-2 to Chris Brown.
Chris Brown, his senior year in high school, hit .454 out of Los Angeles Crenshaw High with 12 home runs. And wasn't the star on the team. Darryl Strawberry was.
Yeah, a good high fastball had Chris Brown thinking about that big hook, and he threw a fastball by him. Strikeout number 2.
Batting seventh, number 29, catcher Alex Trevino.
So oddly enough, Mickey Mahler has had excellent success against the Giants. He hasn't faced the Giants since 1979, but he's 3-0 lifetime against San Francisco.
Facing Alex Trevino, free swinger. I don't know if I'd throw him too many strikes.
That's the slider. And it's a ball. 1-0 to Trevino.
Sometimes a free swinging hitter, throw the ball up in the strike zone, they'll go for it. Something low, they'll chase it.
Kind of like a Manny Sanguillen.
And let them get themselves out, although Manny was a great bad ball hitter.
He sure was. Swinging strike, 1-1. You wouldn't know where to pitch him. Sometime he'd hit the high fastball out of the strike zone, or he'd go after a curveball in the dirt and hit it.
One of the reasons Trevino is in there, their regular catcher Bob Brenly is 4 for 36 against left-hand pitching.
Now that's tough when you're being taken out of the lineup against a lefty and you're a right-handed hitter. Just low. 3-1 to Trevino.
It's interesting the way Sal Butera caught that last pitch. He tried to guide it up into the strike zone. Fool the umpire. It was just a little bit low, but he's trying to get that extra inch or two by lifting it up as he catches the ball.
Free swinger like Trevino. How'd he take that pitch?
Exactly.
Fouled back right off Sal. Count goes full, 3-2. 2 away, bottom of the second inning, a 1-0 Expo lead.
This is like taking a punch from a heavyweight. Right in the mast. Ball's coming in about 85 miles an hour, fouled off, right in your face.
Go over to the dugout, take a couple aspirin after that one. There's the 3-2 pitch. He goes after a pitch out of the strike zone. It was low. And Vance Law is under it. And that's all for the Giants in the second inning. Mickey Mahler has faced 6. He's faced 7. He walked 1 batter, but he's retired the Giants with no hits after 2. In San Francisco, 2 innings have gone by. The Expos 1, the Giants nothing. This is Expo Baseball on TSN.
If you've got the time, we've got the beer. Welcome to Miller Time.
The Drags are coming to the Sports Network in a thrilling 1-hour special Wednesday, June the 5th. Funny Cars and Pro Stockers will compete for $20,000 in prize money on the Pro-Am Nationals from Rockingham International Dragway, North Carolina. IHRA Drag Racing, Wednesday, June 5th at 6 p.m. Eastern, just ahead of the TSN Sports Desk.
This day in baseball, June 5th, 1983. Right fielder for the Giants, Chili Davis. 14th National Leaguer to hit home runs from both sides of the plate. And it was off the Expos, right here at Candlestick Park. Chris Welsh and Ray Burris.
Here's the man that did it.
So Chili Davis, a switch hitter. I can't believe, Ken, you told me before the game that as a switch hitter and a guy who hit over 240 home runs, you never did that, once from each side of the plate.
Well, usually I was so excited about hitting the first one that I just got overjoyed and I couldn't hit another one. Well, I hit 2 home runs in a game. A lot of times they were always from the same side of the plate.
Never from both sides. Well, Chili Davis did it, and against the Expos. Third inning. Expos lead 1-0. And Mickey Mahler is the hitter.
You know, one thing I never thought, I had Eddie Murray batting behind me a lot of times, and it wouldn't have made any difference if they brought in a pitcher from the other side of the plate. The guy behind me could switch over too.
That's right. Mahler up there for the first time, I'm sure, in quite a while. American Association uses the designated hitter. And Mickey gets some wood on the ball. Gladden with the catch. 1 away. So after the single by UL Washington, who was the second hitter of the game, Mike Krukow has retired 7 in a row. One of those outs, though, a sacrifice fly by Dan Driessen. Tim Raines will hit. Timmy led the game off with a single, a bloop single to left. Went over to third on UL Washington's single, and then scored on that Dan Driessen sacrifice fly.
What was that stat the other day that a team that scores in the first inning of a ball game can usually rely on winning 65% of those games?
Good curveball by Krukow. Now that was the sharp breaker. He's gotten away, as Bob Miller told us, from the real slow curveball. Originally a Chicago Cub, Mike Krukow. Fastball line to right. Timmy Raines 2 for 2. So Raines, who's had a good road trip, hitting over 330 now on the road, has had good success against the Giants this year, continues a line drive single to right field.
For the 3rd day in a row, Tim Raines gets his at least 2 hits in a ball game. He had 2 on Tuesday and 2 on Monday and 2 here today on Wednesday.
And I know Buck Rogers knows this. When you're playing a team like the Giants who have trouble scoring, the Expos have not been scoring a lot lately. You get your leadoff man out there with good speed. Now it's the time to try to manufacture another run. UL drops down a bunt. Strike 1.
Well, it'll be interesting if the Expos try another hit and run to see who covers the bag this time. It was successful last time. Take a look at Rick Rennick. He'll be flashing the signs momentarily. Let's go, Rick. There you go. All right.
What's the indicators? The ear, the elbow, the mouth, the nose, the ear, hat? You figure it out.
That could mean nothing, folks. But it'd be interesting to see who covers second base. Will it be Uribe or Manny Trio?
Raines with a bluff. And it's a ball. 1-1 to UL.
The way they're situated now in the infield, it's very difficult to tell. They're both about the same equidistance from second base.
Neither one of them is really cheating much. And I'm a little surprised at that.
Maybe they feel they wouldn't be able to turn to 2 anyway.
I think Trio might be covering this time, though. He's a little bit closer. 2-1 to UL Washington. And I would have to think, from a defensive standpoint, UL Washington doesn't pull that many pitches into the hole.
Well, they were burned the first time when Uribe went to cover, so I wouldn't be surprised if Manny Trio covers the bag if Tim Raines takes off. And there he goes.
There he goes. And there's the throw by Trevino. No chance for Alex Trevino. Timmy Raines steals his 13th base easily.
The pitch is a fastball. Trevino gets it in good style. Manny Trio covering the bag, as we thought he might. And Timmy Raines in easily with a stolen base.
You know, and even though the throw was high, Manny was a little bit late getting over there. But he had no chance. UL bloops one to shallow center field. Gladden trying to make a shoestring catch. Can't get it. Here comes Raines. The relay attempt by Manny Trio. He couldn't get it out of his glove. Raines scores the second run of the game. UL Washington gets his second hit, and the Expos lead 2-0.
Four hits out of the first two men today, and we're only in the third inning.
I think Dan Gladden tried to deke Timmy Raines, and he was going to catch that ball. He knew he wasn't going to get it all the way.
Well, he deked himself by letting this short hop him and get right by him.
And there it goes, right by him, and that enabled Raines to score. RBI for UL Washington. Call strike to Terry Francona. So a double for UL. Fouled off by Terry. So the Expos have 4 hits, and coming from the first 2 men in the order. Raines with 2, UL Washington with 2. Two to nothing lead for Montreal. Mike Krukow working to Terry Francona. Curveball. Right up the middle, a sprawling Krukow can't stop it. Here comes Washington, scoring easily. Terry Francona with an RBI single, and it looks like UL is coming up a little lame with a possible hamstring pull. UL about halfway between third and home, pulled up with a slight injury. Expos lead at 3-0. Now that's not good. There are a few other Expos with slight injuries. You hate to lose somebody else.
Especially the way UL's been swinging the bat. Leading the road trip, coming in today on this trip, hitting .414 and 2 hits again today.
Dan Driessen swings at that first pitch. Strike one. Dan sacrificed fly in the first inning. Picked up his 17th RBI. So he's swinging all right. Looks like that jammed wrist is 100%. There's UL Washington trying to walk off what looked like a possible hamstring pull. Off-speed pitch has Dan full. Strike 2. 1-2. Another thing that pitching coach Bob Miller told us to look for in Mike Krukow, he has been hampered a little bit by a strained Achilles tendon and a sore knee, so that could be bothering him. Leonard with a long way to go. Gladden right there, and the left fielder Jeff Leonard making the catch.
Almost a mix-up in communication. Usually the center fielder, when he calls for it, he's the one to make the catch. Watch Gladden. He's yelling right now that I got it. But Jeff Leonard yelled a little bit louder, and he's a little bit taller, and he reached in and made the catch.
Well, Gladden said he's a little bigger, too. Strike 1 to Wallach. 3-0 lead for the Expos. Montreal with 5 base hits off Mike Krukow. We're in the top of the 3rd inning. 1-1 to Tim. This is Krukow's 11th start of the year. He's completed 3. High fastball. Strike 2.
Tim Wallach, known around the league as a good low ball hitter, good low fastball hitter. You watch how the pitchers try to keep everything at about his belt, especially the good high fastball.
There's another pitch up in the strike zone. Chris Brown with the force at second base. That's all for the Expos in the 3rd inning. But Montreal comes up with a pair of runs on 3 base hits. Consecutive singles by Raines, UL's was a double, and Francona's single. And in the 3rd inning, Montreal with 2 runs, 3 hits, no errors, 1 left. After 2 1/2, the Expos 3, the Giants nothing. This is Expo Baseball on TSN.
You're the Canada in Petro-Canada. You own the place. You're the Canada in Petro-Canada. You're that smiling face. You're the one we're pushing right for. That special thing we do it right for. You're the reason for good and reason. You are Petro-Canada. We're working for you.
From the energy frontier to the station around the corner, we put Canada first.
The Carling O'Keefe Sports Game Star for the Expos will receive, for her, the Lady Remington Rechargeable Shaver, and for him, the Remington Rechargeable Micro Screen Shaver, the cordless rechargeable shaver that shaves as close as a blade, or you get your money back. Ken Singleton and I will be picking a Carling O'Keefe Expo Game Star during the course of this ball game. Monday on June 10th, come out and welcome the Expos home. It'll be 2 for 1 night in all sections, including general admission. First 15,000 fans entering the stadium will receive an Expos souvenir cap. And in addition, starting on June 10th, there will be live entertainment every night at level 600 featuring a live rock band. Game time on Monday night will be 8:05 due to the Monday Night Baseball presented by ABC. So ABC announcers Don Drysdale and Tim McCarver will be in town as the Expos play the Chicago Cubs. Come on out and welcome the Expos home.
UL Washington trying to stretch out that hamstring. Something you don't like to see, especially out of somebody who's been contributing so much to the cause.
Well, when the inning, as the Expos took the field before the inning started, UL running out to shallow left field, trying to loosen it up a little bit.
Jose Uribe, yesterday's star, collected hits from both sides of the plate for the first time in his major league career.
Also 3 RBIs, first time in his career. So a big day for Jose Uribe. Fouls that one off. One of the few Dominican players not from San Pedro de Macorís. It's from San Cristobal, Dominican Republic. He probably knows all those guys, though.
Well, the Giants, their hitting has been so poor that they've sent a number of their batters to a hypnotist to try to help them come out of this slump. Jose was one of the few guys who didn't go, and he got 2 hits yesterday and 3 RBIs.
Yeah, that was interesting. I mean, what's this game coming to here? Giants are sending people, it's called an enhancement agency. And they try to improve the athlete's concentration by getting them to relax through imagery. So you go up there and you picture base hits. I always pictured base hits. Didn't always get them, though.
The pitchers were picturing you making out. That's what it was.
Uribe is retired, 1 away.
They probably had a bigger screen.
So sports enhancement has invaded the major leagues in San Francisco. There are a few golfers who've had success, Peter Jacobson and Mark Lai, but that ball just sits there on a tee. It's not moving.
90 miles an hour.
Kruko displays his form as a hitter, strike 1.
It's a fun game when things are going good. It get awful frustrating when you're not hitting or you're not pitching well, and
you'll try anything.
Exactly.
Mahler with a 3-0 lead. Fouled off by Kruko. Kruko not a bad hitter. Has some pretty good career batting statistics. Anything over 200 for a pitcher's outstanding, in his career average 212. 3 lifetime home runs. Inside, the count 2-2 to Mike Kruko. Again fouled off. Count stays 2-2.
You mentioned that Kruko is a pretty good hitter. Anything over 200, you said, for a pitcher? He hit 3 home runs.
Mm-hmm.
Did he spend some time with the Cubs?
That's right.
I remember Jose Cardinal told me that you didn't have to be a home run hitter to hit a home run at Wrigley Field.
A good bet some of those dingers were in Chicago. Yeah, Mike spending parts of 76, all of 77, and then 79 through 81 with the Chicago Cubs before being traded over to the Philadelphia Phillies. UL Washington. And Kruko's retired, 2 away. Actually, Kruko's best year was with the Phillies, and he only spent 1 year in Philadelphia, 1982. He was 13 and 11.
It's been more or less that fourth starter type pitcher backing up your big 2 or 3 in your rotation.
It's an interesting trade, too. He was acquired from the Phillies along with Marc Davis, now the ace left-hander out of their staff. So the Giants picking up 2 quality players, and they sent to Philadelphia Joe Morgan and Al Holland. Morgan now retired, Holland pitching for Pittsburgh.
Speaking of quality players, Dan Gladden. At one time last year, he reached base by a hit or a walk in 38 consecutive games. In fact, they were his last 38 games of the season.
Would you call that pesky?
This man can get on base. He's the type of player when you play against him, somebody like a Brett Butler or a Dan Gladden, they're so pesky you don't like them. You like to have them on your team, though.
It's kind of like a Bob Dernier.
Yep.
Dernier came up with a good line. He says that you might not notice me during the course of a weekend series, but check me out at the end of the season. That's about like Dan Gladden is.
It's all added up in October.
Big curveball. 2-2 to Gladden. 2 outs, bottom of the 3rd inning, and the Expos have a 3-0 lead over the San Francisco Giants. Mahler tries to sneak that fastball in after flipping up a couple of slow curves, and he just missed with it. 32-year-old Mickey Mahler.
Again, the count is run to 3-2. I felt as though when I was hitting, if you get the count to 3-2, you've seen everything the pitcher has, and now it's time to put up or shut up.
See what Mahler does. In the hole, tough play for UL, and a speedy Dan Gladden beats it out. First hit of the game for the Giants. So UL made an outstanding play. That's all he could do. Went deep into the hole, got rid of it quickly. But Gladden, with excellent speed, beats it out. A good hard throw and something on it, and that's a tough play for a shortstop to make.
I wonder if the fact that UL has hobbled a bit with that hamstring, couldn't get quite what he wanted on the throw to first base. It still was a good throw. And he's still moving around gingerly at shortstop.
So he's been tested a couple of times in this inning with ground balls after pulling up with a slight pull, scoring the Expos' 3rd run of the game on a single by Francona. Strike 1 to Manny Trio. Trio walked in the 1st inning. And prior to the infield single by Gladden, that was the only other Giant runner. Gladden steps off his lead. Inside. 1-1 to Trio.
The Expos a 3-0 lead. Gladden 3rd in the National League in stolen bases with 19. Wonder if he'll go with them down by 3 runs. 2 outs, though. Might want to try and get in scoring position.
Better make sure he gets there if he goes. He might have been thinking about it. Mahler sends him back. Trio, 4-time All-Star. As we look at Dan Gladden. Strike two, the Manny trio.
From 1981 to 1983, with the Phillies, the Indians, and the Expos, Manny Trio always hit better at home. Hit .299 at home, .251 on the road. As soon as he came to San Francisco, he reversed. He hit better on the road. Maybe it's the park.
I wonder why. There goes Gladden. Pitch fouled off. And the count stays to Trio 1-2. I would imagine that could be a point for a lot of players, having played elsewhere, then come to San Francisco, where it's not an easy park to hit in. They might have better luck on the road.
Not only is it generally, especially in the night games, it's very cold, and hitters don't like to hit in cold weather, but the fact the park itself, we mentioned the wide room and foul territory, a lot of pop fouls here stay in play, whereas in other ballparks around the league, they're out into the stands and you get another chance. So I think that could be one reason why his average was higher on the road for a change.
He's battling. Count stays 1-2. It was a little better ballpark to hit in when the Giants had AstroTurf here at Candlestick.
It was also a better ballpark to hit in when they had Willie Mays and Orlando Cepeda, Willie McCovey.
72 through 78. It was artificial surface here in San Francisco. Vance Law making the catch on the pop fly off the bat of Manny Trio, and that's all for the Giants in the third. No runs, a base hit, their first of the ball game. No errors, one left after 3. The Expos 3, the Giants nothing. This is Expo Baseball on TSN. And now let's go to TSN Control for this sports break with Steve Cooney.
Thank you very much, Tom. One other ball game being played this afternoon. That's in Chicago. The Atlanta Braves and Cubs are tied at 2-2 in the bottom of the 6th inning. Second-seeded Yvonne Lendl and third-seeded Jimmy Connors have both moved into the semifinals of the French Open Tennis Championships. Connors and Lendl will face each other in one semi, while the other will pit top-seeded John McEnroe against Sweden's Mats Wilander. The NBA Championship Series resumes tonight in Los Angeles, with the Lakers leading the Boston Celtics 2-1. After dropping the opener by 34 points, the Lakers have come back to win 2 in a row and assume the series lead. Heavyweight Willie DeWitt of Grand Prairie, Alberta, says he has a lot to prove when he steps into the ring in Atlantic City tonight against Sterling Benjamin of Trinidad. After starting his career with 3 straight wins, the Olympic silver medalist managed only a draw in his April bout against unheralded Alex Williamson of Reese's Corners, Ontario. Coming up in baseball tonight, the Blue Jays will be home to the Minnesota Twins. Now let's go back out to San Francisco and join Tom and Kenny.
This telecast is protected by copyright and is intended solely for the non-commercial entertainment of our viewing audience. Any use, reproduction, or distribution in whole or in part of the pictures or descriptions herein contained without the express written consent of the Montreal Expos Baseball Club and the Sports Network is strictly prohibited. Vance Law to lead it off as we go to the 4th. Expos with a 3-0 lead. And as the inning got underway, just before Vance walked up to the batter's box, we saw UL Washington cross in front of us down toward the Expo clubhouse, which is way down the right field line, and that would indicate that UL may be having trouble with that pulled muscle and might be coming out of the ball game. So it's a long way from the dugout on the third base side that the Expos occupy to that giant bullpen where the door is that leads to the Expos clubhouse. And UL just made the trip. We hope it's not serious.
Slider.
1-2 to Vance Law.
That old equalizer of a pitch.
Lined up the middle, right over the bag at second. Vance Law gets himself a base hit. And the Expos, 3 out of 4 innings, get the leadoff runner aboard.
Number 3, center fielder, Winningham.
It looks like, Ken, that Krukow has been getting hurt by getting pitches up in the strike zone.
That fastball right there was about belt high for Vance Law to swing at. Herm Winningham. 338 on the road, 184 in Montreal. So this is batting averages for the year.
That's right, and we talk about the different hitters in the Expo order. And as we're looking at the bench, Joe Hesketh there, head trainer Ron McLean, Jimmy Raines, and Buck Rogers. Talking about the different hitters up and down the lineup that can initiate a hit and run. These two can, but they'll not get a chance as Chris Brown. They will get a chance, a second chance. The third baseman loses it in the sun in San Francisco. So we've talked about the elements, the wind and the sun, and you get a good example. Chris Brown, even with the glasses down, cannot find it.
Tell you, that is no day at the beach right there. All that sun.
That is not fun, and that just goes to show, even with the glasses down, sometimes if that ball gets right in the sun, it won't help. 1-2 to Herman Winningham as a familiar pitcher begins to loosen up down in the Giants bullpen. Lefty Vida Blue.
Here's a shot of Vida.
A rejuvenated 35-year-old, and a balk is called on Mike Krukow. Well, you don't see a veteran pitcher do that too often. As Vance Law moves on to second.
Krukow getting set to deliver. The ball slips out of his hand for a balk.
So after a pop fly is lost in the sun, now a veteran pitcher. Now, would that indicate that he might be loading up the baseball?
I was going to say,
he couldn't hold on
that might have been the greaser right there.
Anyway, he's embarrassed. Expos have a runner in scoring position, nobody out. Count 1-2 to Winningham.
Now the situation changes. Herm Winningham trying to advance Vance Law to third base.
Fouled at the plate. Every once in a while you'll see a pitcher with nobody on base come up in the windup and maybe knock the ball against their leg and have it pop out. Of course, it's no balk, nobody on base, but seldom do you see what Mike Krukow just did.
That's up to Herm, as I mentioned, to try and pull the ball to the right side of the field, either on the ground or a long fly ball to right field, or a base hit anywhere to advance.
It's a little tougher. He's got 2 strikes on him, but we'll see what he does.
Target low and away.
Hard shot to the shortstop, but good base running by Vance Law. Gets him over to third base. He made sure the ball was behind him to his left. Uribe only play was to first base because he was moving toward the middle of the diamond. He throws out Winningham. So the job done by Herman Winningham.
Good base running by Vance Law. Now the Giants bring the infield in. Sal Butera at the plate, trying to cut this run off.
That was good base running, because sometimes you'll see a runner freeze when the ball's hit sharply like that.
You have to know where the shortstop's playing. You check the infielders and know.
Squeeze is on. Sal Butera, perfect squeeze bunt. In comes Vance Law, and the Expos lead it 4-0.
So the good base running by Vance Law pays off. You see Sal Butera, this is the way it should be run. Here's a clinic on the squeeze play. Vance Law does not leave too soon. Sal Butera gets the ball down. The only play for Krukow is the first base, and the Expos have another run.
So a perfectly executed squeeze bunt by the Expos. Sal Butera, RBI number 3 on the year. And as you mentioned, the runner at third, Vance Law, didn't leave too soon. When you're a hitter, you don't want that runner to leave too soon. Pitcher can pick it up, and he may throw one right at your head. Four to nothing lead for the Expos. And it's a day for Mickey Mahler. He steps up, lines a single to right field. And that could be all for right-hander Mike Krukow, as Jimmy Davenport, the manager of the San Francisco Giants, makes the long trek from the Giant dugout out to the mound. Krukow's been hurt all afternoon by pitches up in the strike zone. He just got one up to Mickey Mahler, as Mahler picked up the 7th hit of the ball game for the Montreal Expos. Expos lead it 4-0. Krukow in trouble every inning but the second. Second inning, they went out in order, but came up with a run in the first, 2 runs in the third, and 1 here in the 4th inning. As Krukow leaves, left-hander Vida Blue gets a nice round of applause from this giant crowd, and it's a bigger crowd than we've had first 3 games of this series. And there's a look at the squeeze play. If you want to know how to do it right, exactly. Now, Law goes. The perfect bunt by Sal Butera. Only play for Krukow. And the Expos pick up run number 4 on a squeeze. Vida Blue.
Tommy, Vida Blue, big favorite here in San Francisco, has done a fairly good job. He got a start the other day and was able to pitch 5 innings, giving up only 1 hit. 3-1. ERA is up there a bit. He's 9 appearances. He's basically been used out of the bullpen by manager Jim Davenport, and I'm sure Vida would like to be in the starting rotation, but this is how you earn your way into starting rotation, by appearances just as these. He's in 12 innings. He's given up 10 hits. He's walked 13. His control's been off a little, and he has struck out 9.
Well, he did get a start the last day before the Expos came to town, and Vida Blue made the most of it against the Philadelphia Phillies. Went 5 innings, picked up the win. So he's out there now in relief, and I mentioned before when we took a look at Vida down in the bullpen, the rejuvenated Vida has fought back from drug problems, incarceration in prison, went to the Giants spring training camp in Phoenix, not as a signed player, had a good spring. They signed him to a contract, and he's back in the big leagues, and he's having a lot of fun. He's enjoying it. The fans love him, and he's out there on the mound right now facing Timmy Raines with 2 out. Runner at first, Mickey Mahler, and the Expos lead it 4-0. Raines 2 for 2.
Timmy now switches over to the right-hand side of the plate against the left-hander Vida Blue.
Vida maybe not the consistent hard thrower that he used to be, but he rushes it up there every once in a while. 2-0 to Raines.
It's a big difference this year for Timmy Raines on either side of the plate. He's hitting over 300 left-handed, but hitting just over 200. This ball bounces in the dirt. No advance by pitcher Mickey Mahler. Timmy Raines hitting just over 200 on the right-hand side. And sometimes for a switch hitter, you go through a period where you don't see too many left-handers. It takes a while to lift up that average from the right-hand side of the plate.
There's a strike from Vida Blue, as you mentioned, has had a few control problems in 12 innings, 13 walks. So he's trying to get his strikes together. 3-1 pitch to Raines, chopped at the plate. 3-2. Of course, Vida did not play the entire 1984 season. Gee, you look back at some of the great years that he had.
Got an interesting story about Vida, but I'm going to wait till next inning when we have more time to talk about it. Just one takes a little while to tell.
All right, 35-year-old left-hander. It's low. He loses Raines.
Well, maybe we have some time right now. We wait while Hubie Brooks will come to the plate.
Well, we mentioned that UL Washington headed to the clubhouse after coming up with a slight pull, scoring a run. UL was 2 for 2, single and a double, an RBI. So UL will be icing that, what we suspect is a hamstring pull, and Hubie Brooks will pinch hit for UL Washington.
Vida Blue, back in the days of 1976, had a real fastball. It was up around 90, 95 miles an hour. And we had a good fastball hitter on our team with the Orioles. It was Tommy Harper, who had some pretty good years in the big leagues. And Tommy was a good leadoff hitter. One day in Oakland, Vida winds up the first pitch of the game. Fastball that Tommy Harper lined over the left field wall, just foul, about a foot foul. Would have been a home run leading off the game on the first pitch. Second pitch of the game, fastball, the same exact place, just foul. Second pitch of the game, just foul, about a foot down the left field line. By this time, Vida's mad. He's going to throw his best fastball.
He's still cranking, too.
About 95 miles an hour. Tommy Harper hits the third pitch, a foot fair down the left field line for a home run.
Heat against heat.
I mentioned that to Vida the other day, and he recalled it very vividly.
Well, he's struggling with his control right now as Bob Miller, our pregame guest and Giant pitching coach, heads to the mound. He's fallen behind Hubie Brooks, pinch hitting for UL Washington. 3-0. So Bob trying to get Vida's rhythm down. Frank Williams starts to loosen up now for the Giants in their bullpen. 10 major league teams. Well, he's got quite a collection of hats and sweatshirts, I bet. All different colors. What a game room he has at his house.
I bet she's got some autographs from a lot of big stars.
Way up high and outside. And Hubie Brooks draws a walk. So Vida Blue has come on to relieve Mike Krukow.
Number 16, right fielder Terry.
And he's walked 2 in a row. So bases are loaded for the Expos. Mahler's at third. Raines is at second. Brooks is at first for Terry Francona.
Now, ordinarily, you might see manager Buck Rogers pinch hit with a right-hand hitter for Francona. But the Giants have a right-hander warming up in the bullpen.
There's Frank Williams.
Side-arming right-hander at that.
Ground ball hit hard up the middle. Uribe can't come up with it. Mahler scores. Here comes Raines. The Expos take a 6-0 lead. Terry Francona picking up his second straight hit. He now has 3 RBIs in the ball game. So the left-hander didn't bother Tito.
Hard smash through the middle. Vida reaches for it. Uribe dives for it. People falling all over the place, but and Hubie Brooks diving.
Dan Driessen up there, and Hubie just getting back to second base, taking a wide turn. Well, the Expos did a job on Mike Krukow. And the report on UL Washington is that he has a mild hamstring pull. This is kind of what we thought. And we're glad that it is mild. With the day off on Thursday. And then a complete day Friday, a night game Friday night in Philadelphia. Hopefully UL will be fit to play. The 2-1 pitch to Driessen. He sends it out to left field. Leonard with the throw. Here comes Hubie. They get him at the plate. A good throw by Jeff Leonard, who had an assist to throw out Hubie Brooks in the second game. Threw him out at third base. Comes up with another fine throw from left field, this time nailing Brooks at the plate. But the Expos have a big fourth. In the inning, they come up with 3 runs. They had 4 base hits. No errors, 2 runners were left. After 3.5 innings of play, the Expos 6 and the Giants nothing. This is Expo Baseball on TSN.
Welcome to Miller Time. It's brewed here. It's yours and mine. Bring your thirsty self right here. You've got the time. We've got the beer. For what you have in mind. Welcome to Miller Time.
Miller High Life. If you've got the time, we've got the beer. Welcome to Miller Time.
So, we're back in San Francisco. Candlestick Park. Tommy Hutton and Ken Singleton. Game 3 of a 3-game series. Here's a look at Jeff Leonard coming up with the ground ball base hit off the bat of Dan Driessen and making a good throw to the plate to get Hubie Brooks.
2 days in a row he's gotten Hubie on the bases. Yesterday at third. Today, out at home.
So the Expos with their hitting shoes on here in San Francisco. Here we get a look at the National League East standings. New York Mets and the Chicago Cubs right up there. Cubs a game and a half behind the Mets. Expos 3 out, trying to stay pace. St. Louis, Philadelphia, and Pittsburgh. Cardinals with a lot of players up there in the averages. Clark and Tommy Herr leading the National League. As we look at the West, San Diego with a game and a half lead over Cincinnati. Cincinnati winners of 3 in a row. Houston, LA, San Francisco ahead of Atlanta. Atlanta holding up the West.
Right fielder, Chile, Davis.
Chili Davis, Jeff Leonard, Rob Deere for the Giants. We'll go to the 4th. Mickey Mahler and the Expos a 6-0 lead. Davis hit a little looping liner to the shortstop his first time up. Tries to get on base with a bunt, fouls it off. 0-2. Well, the worst outing of the year for Mike Krukow. He went just 3 2/3 innings, gave up 7 hits, 5 runs. That's his shortest outing by a Giant starter. Giant starters have been averaging over 6 innings a start.
Krukow himself had been averaging just over 7 innings per start. So today he was a little off his feed.
And again, I'll mention that Bob Miller told me before the game he has been bothered by a slight Achilles tendon problem and a sore knee that he injured fielding a bunt play in his last start. So possibly Krukow hurting a little bit. Swing and a miss. Butera running down Chili Davis on the putout. Strikeout number 3 for Mickey Mahler. So that's the best way to do it. Stand between the runner and first base.
Number 20, left fielder, Jeff Leonard.
And once again, Mickey Mahler getting that good curveball and having a Giant chase it. He was out of the strike zone.
Version of the Texas two-step right there.
Well, we should mention the music here in San Francisco. Whoever's in charge of the music between innings should get an award. They play some great stuff out here.
Pre-game, it's hard for us to do our work and prepare for the game.
Tough to do it without tapping your feet.
Jeff Leonard. Count balls, 2 balls and no strikes. The last 2 years, he's averaged a home run every 25 times up to the plate. From 1977 to 82, it took him every 68 times to the plate to hit a home run. So the last 2 years, he's come into his own as a power hitter.
As a power hitter. That was interesting, too, because he first came up originally with the Dodgers, then Houston, and he didn't look like a home run hitter at all. What would change a hitter like that? Because he's a big guy.
Maybe he's gotten stronger over the years. You go to Nautilus, maybe you work with the weights, increase bat speed, learning the pitches better, the pitchers, I mean.
Out of play with that pop fly, and the count is 2-2 to Jeff Leonard.
Gets an opportunity to play more here with the Giants, and being with the Astros in a place not known for long distance hitting, that could have kept his home run ratio down also.
Yeah, they have moved the fences in Houston, but they weren't moved in when Jeff Leonard played there. By the way, Hubie Brooks stayed in the game. He's out at shortstop now. Leonard just gets under this one, hits it deep, might be deep enough. Rain's moving in now. And he's got it. You could see Timmy Raines going back to the fence, which is what a good outfielder should do. And then when the wind brought it back, Timmy came back and made the play.
Sounded good leaving the bat.
So that's always the best thing for an outfielder to do, get back there. If you think it's going to be up against the fence, it's always easier to come in on the ball than to go back on a ball. Big Rob Deere struck out in the second inning.
This guy reminds me a lot of Dave Kingman when he first came up to the major leagues. Big swing. One thing on his mind when he comes to the plate, that's the home run. I don't think he's thinking much for batting average. He's just thinking hitting the ball a long way.
He's not worried about striking out. He hits this one a long way to right center. Francona, a long way to go, and makes the play in front of Herman Windingham. So Terry Francona was playing deep in right field. Moved well to his right to pick that one out of the air. Third out of the inning. That's all for the Giants in the fourth. No runs, no hits, no errors. After 4, the Expos 6, the Giants nothing. This is Expo Baseball on TSN.
Every time you fill up at your neighborhood Petro-Canada station, you're pumping your money back into Canadian jobs, back into new opportunities for Canadian industry and technology, back into the ongoing search for Canadian energy. And to every Canadian who thinks that all gasoline stations are the same, Petro-Canada offers an alternative. Pump your money back into Canada. It goes a long way. Petro-Canada, putting Canada first.
And TSN will be bringing you some more baseball as the Expos continue on this long road trip. Expos in the Philadelphia Phillies, Friday, June 7th, 8 o'clock Eastern Time. I'm Tommy Hutton, along with Ken Singleton. We'll be there, as well as David Palmer and Steve Carlton, the pitchers in the ball game for the Expos and the Phillies, right here on TSN. Checking the standings over in the American League, the Toronto Blue Jays continue on their quest to win the Eastern title. They're 5 games ahead of Baltimore. Detroit and New York tied, 6.5 out. Boston, Milwaukee, and Cleveland, 17 games out. The Indians over in the West, the Angels hanging in there, 1.5 games ahead of Kansas City. They've been playing well lately. White Sox, Oakland, Seattle, Minnesota, and Texas. Minnesota's got to be giving Billy Gardner fits. They had so many streaks, good ones and bad ones. A sunny day in San Francisco, and certainly a sunny one for Buck Rogers and the Expos. 6-0 lead. Wallach, Law, and Winningham off Vida Blue. Swing and a miss. Strike 1. You know, Vida in spring training with the Giants, before he did sign, when he was first with the Giants, he always wore number 14. Last year with San Francisco, Atlee Hammaker wore 14. Well, when Atlee saw Vida making the club, he knew that Vida was a top-notch pro, and he thought the respectful thing to do was to let Vida have old number 14 back, and Hammaker took number 7. He took half of 14.
7's supposed to be a lucky number, but you don't usually see a pitcher wearing number 7.
That's right. Pitchers usually have those higher numbers. 2-2 to Tim Wallach.
If they get Mickey Mahler back, he's going to have to give that number up. Or if he ever comes to the Giants, let him not back.
There's the 2-2 pitch. 3-2 to Wallach. So Krukow started the game. He's gone. And now Vida Blue. Uribe scoops this one up. A neat play. 1 down. So another young shortstop in the National League that can pick it.
Number 2, second baseman Vance Law.
Vance Law steps in. Vance 1 for 2. Singled and scored a run in the 4th inning.
Started off the rally for the Expos. was balked to second base by Mike Krukow.
Expos trying to stay above 500 on the road trip, 4-4 coming into the game.
Looks like Vite is throwing pretty hard, but he's just all over the place. His release point hasn't been the same on consecutive pitches very often.
And a lot of that, I'm sure, has to do with the year's layoff he had. Hard to get back that form. That's tough to do. Not easy to take a year off in this game and come back at 100%. Ball 4 to Vance.
Another base on ball for Vance Law, and he is now leading the team in base on balls. He's taking that lead away from Mike Fitzgerald, who had 20 coming into today's game, and now Vance with 22. While Vance was hitting only .239, his on-base percentage was .333, so those walks helped by getting him on base. Ball 1. Herm Winningham.
So Vance over at first base. Vida Blue questioning the call from home plate umpire Lanny Harris. Pitch to Winningham. 2-0. Expos trying to win their 30th game of the year.
Herm Winningham having a good road trip. Hit .381 on this trip. Home run in San Diego.
Ground ball backhanded by Trio. Good play by Manny Trio to get the force on Vance Law. So the Gold Glove second baseman shows us why he's won so many Gold Gloves.
Hard smash through the middle.
Number 11.
Manny Trio playing in double play depth, a little bit closer to the bag. He's able to come up with the force.
You know, Uribe made a good play. Had it been a slower runner, he might have gone to first and tried to complete 2, but Winningham gets down the line in a hurry. Sal Butera, who has an RBI, a perfect squeeze bunt in the 4th. Sal getting an opportunity to see some action. Tender shoulder to Mike Fitzgerald. Mike hopes to be back in the lineup Friday night in Philadelphia. He feels good today, but Buck Rogers just wanted to give him another day, and with the off day, 2 more days off. That's an interesting graphic because Manny has 6 errors already in 1985. Rob Deere trying to run right through the wall. He's big enough to do it, but the ball finds the seats. 2-2.
He runs through that wall. I'm sure his dad's construction company can help the Giants out and put another one up.
Could build another one.
Orange, California is not, that's near L.A. That's not.
It's out near Orange County. It's out near Anaheim.
Yeah.
Right near where the California Angels play. High fly ball off the bat of Sal Butera. Chili Davis making the play. Chili not sure how many outs there were. He was going to throw it into the infield, but it is 3. That's all for the Expos in the 5th. No runs, no hits, no errors, 1 left. 4.5 innings in San Francisco, and the Expos have a 6-0 lead. This is Expo Baseball on TSN.
Welcome to Monte Carlo, the normally sunny millionaire's paradise here on the Mediterranean coast, and it looks as though the rain is here to stay. The track, the 2-mile twisting bumpy circuit, the tightest and most glamorous in the Grand Prix calendar, is very wet and very treacherous.
Join us for all the excitement of the 1985 Monaco Grand Prix, Tuesday, June 11th at 8 p.m. Eastern, just ahead of our live Sean O'Sullivan fight, here on TSN. The United States Football League is on TSN. All summer long, we'll have live exclusive coverage as the teams battle their way into the playoffs. As we get closer and closer to the playoffs, the action is heating up. Saturday, Baltimore's in Birmingham starting at 8. And Monday, Jacksonville takes on New Jersey at 7. 2 great USFL games live and exclusive here on the Sports Network.
There you see it, a nice lead for the Expos as we move to the bottom of the 5th inning in San Francisco. Tommy Hutton and Ken Singleton right here on TSN. Expo Baseball. On Sunday, June 16th, the Expos will be playing host to the New York Mets in a 1:35 start. It'll be the Expos Provigo Watch Day at Olympic Stadium. First 25,000 fans to enter Olympic Stadium will receive a superb watch, compliments of the Montreal Expos and Provigo supermarkets. That's Sunday, June 16th, Watch Day at Olympic Stadium. And the game's being played on this Wednesday in the National League. Mets are still in Los Angeles, Houston at St. Louis, Philadelphia and San Diego, Pittsburgh at Cincinnati, Atlanta against the Cubs. Interesting situation took place in San Diego in their game on Tuesday. Tim Flannery, John Denny got into a little confrontation. I guess Denny had hit Flannery with a pitch in the 3rd inning, hit him behind the neck. Then in the 6th inning, Flannery came up with a little revenge. A 2 RBI single, went to 3rd on an error, and as Denny was backing up 3rd, I guess there was some words exchanged, and they got into it.
I wouldn't appreciate being hit in the back of the neck either.
Chris Brown swinging and missing, and you can just picture Flannery after dusting himself off saying, "Take that, John."
He didn't.
And oddly enough, Flannery wasn't ejected. Denny had to be ejected from the game, as did Kevin Gross. He must have come off the bench and gotten involved somehow. Well, Mickey Mahler has to feel good about this time, getting a start into the 5th inning. Expos have 6 runs, Giants with none.
The pitcher is the 4th hitter in this inning for the Giants, so they've got some action down in their bullpen.
Fouled off, the count 1-2 to Chris Brown. Expos scored 7 runs against the Dodgers on Sunday, but came up losers. Dodgers winning 8-7.
In case we get to that 4th spot in the order, we might see a pinch hitter from manager Jim Davenport.
And the other high-run game of this road trip, first game, Montreal picked up 8 runs. First game against San Diego. So Mickey Mahler enjoying a 6-0 lead. Expos have 9 hits. Giants have 1. And that an infield single by Dan Gladden in the 3rd.
The Giants have not been blistering the ball against the Expos this year. Coming into today's game, they were only hitting 190 with no home runs and only 12 runs, 12 RBIs.
So what you're saying, not an offensive machine for Jim Davenport and the Giants. Count stays 1-2. And a good play by a fan back in the seats.
They're not the type of team that I was used to. I was a Giant fan when I was a youngster, and they had some bombers on their team. I like to see the home runs, and that's exactly what they had.
There's a ball hit well to left field. Raines is back. Over for it is Winningham, and he cuts in front of Raines and makes the catch. Chris Brown sending one to left center, but the wind again holding it up.
Number 29, catcher Alex Trevino.
You're going to have to rake the line drive out of here to left field. You get it up in that breeze, which blows predominantly from left field over the right. You're not going to get it out of the park.
Well, this is the 7th game that the Giants and Expos have played. 4 up in Montreal, 3rd game here in San Francisco, and the Giants have yet to hit a home run against the Expos. Popped out of play. Wallach and Butera giving chase, and that's another thing about playing in Candlestick. Pop flies, you can't give up on them because you're not sure where they're going to end up.
See that wide expanse from the third base line over to the stands, the Expo dugout.
Of course, then again, after Wallach saw Chris Brown lose that one in the sun, he may not want to catch up with one. 2-1 to Trevino. Alex acquired from the Atlanta Braves back in April, early April, to help out the Giants' catching core. Good crowd today, much better than previous 2 games in San Francisco.
It's a lot warmer today than it has been. I think that's an indication of why the fans don't come to Candlestick, because it is such a poor place to watch a ball game, especially a night game. It's very cold, and even sometimes in the daytime it can be a little chilly. Strike 3 call.
Call strike 3. Strikeout number 4 for Mickey Mahler. Yeah, they were all excited here in the Bay Area on Tuesday evening.
Number 23.
Both
shortstop Jose.
Bay clubs were winners. Oakland, 2-0 winner over the Yankees. And of course the Giants defeating the Expos 5-1.
A lot of people feel that there's one too many ball clubs in the Bay Area. The A's of the American League over in Oakland and the Giants here in San Francisco, they feel there's not enough population to support 2 ball clubs. One of them might have to leave town or leave the area.
Yeah, there's some Expo fans checking out their Montreal Expos here in San Francisco. Long way from home. Good curveball. Strike 2. Yeah, it's a great city, too, to come to, and a lot of comparisons between the city of Montreal and the city of San Francisco.
A lot of great restaurants, for one.
Great restaurants. There's an international type atmosphere, cosmopolitan.
Yeah, we took a ride on the trolley cars yesterday, cable cars.
Cable car over to a great restaurant on the wharf. We don't want to tell these people how great a time we're having out here, though. They want to see some baseball. Expos leading 6-0 as Chris Brown sends a ground ball to Vance Law, and that's all for the Giants in the 5th. No runs, no hits, no errors. After 5 complete, the Expos 6, the Giants nothing. This is Expo Baseball on TSN.
If you've got the time, we've got the beer. Welcome to Miller Time.
On Sunday, June 16th, the Sports Network has exclusive coverage of the 1985 U.S. College Baseball World Series Championship game. Players like Dave Steve, Dave Winfield, Bob Porter, and Mike Schmidt are just a few of the players who have worked their way into the majors after playing in the World Series of college ball. It's an exciting brand of baseball with new hopefuls dreaming of making it to the big leagues. Join us Sunday, June 16th from Rosenblatt Stadium, Omaha, Nebraska at 12:30 p.m. Eastern on the Sports Network.
All kinds of sports for you on TSN. Top Rank Boxing, a special edition coming up on Wednesday, June 5th. That'll be at 9 o'clock Eastern Time, and it'll feature Willie DeWitt against Sterling Benjamin. Willie DeWitt, silver medalist in the Olympics. So Top Rank Boxing coming up on TSN, special edition. We've got some special weather here in San Francisco. Expos tell, perfect way to purchase tickets from the comfort of your home at your service from Monday to Saturday, 9 to 6. All you need is a credit card, so call today and order your tickets. We'll gladly inform you of our promotion dates and give you the best seats available. Call Expos Tell at 253-0700 in Montreal or toll free 1-800-0658 elsewhere in the province of Quebec, including the Ottawa region. And the switch hitting Mickey Mahler steps up there. So Mickey Mahler pulling out all the stops, showing us that he can hit from both sides of the plate. Singled in the 4th inning from the left side. That was off Kruko. That sent Kruko to the showers. And now Mickey up there right-handed off the left-handed throwing Vida Blue. So the Mahlers are good hitters. As Mickey grounds out, Rick Mahler with the Atlanta Braves, an excellent hitting pitcher in the National League.
Well, with a name like Mickey, should hit from both sides of the plate.
That's right. It's contagious in the family, too. Good hitting pitchers. Mahler will take a long time to walk back to the dugout, and Tim Raines will stroll to the plate to give Mahler a little shot at resting when he gets into the dugout. Raines has been on base 3 times. He's scored 3 times. So leadoff man Timmy Raines doing the job.
Scored the first run of the game for the Expos today, and he leads the Expos in scoring the winning run. He has done that 8 times.
And his average now is up to 288. And he's been hot. Last 27 at bats. 444. Good fastball by Vida, but way out of the strike zone, 1-0. I was talking about some of the years that Vida Blue had. Looking back, 1971, 24-8. Pitched 312 innings and gave up just 209 hits with 301 strikeouts.
Tough to get the lumber on whatever he was throwing that year.
And obviously enough, he won the Cy Young Award that year. And his earned run average was 1.82. So I guess he won the Cy Young Award.
Vida's a fast worker.
3-1 pitch. Foul tip, strike 2.
Once he gets the ball back, he's ready to throw again.
6 foot, 200 pounds. This is now his 14th year in the major leagues. Just misses with the 3-2 pitch, and Raines is aboard for the 4th straight time. 2 singles and 2 walks.
Number 7, shortstop UB Brooks.
So Vida Blue has walked 4 now. 1 away. UB Brooks will be the hitter. UB came into the game in the 4th inning to bat for UL Washington, who had to leave the game. Slightly pulled hamstring. UL was 2 for 2 with a single and a double and an RBI. Scored once. UL was giving Hubie a rest. And Hubie finds himself in the game, so it was a short rest. 0-2.
I wonder if Buck Rogers told Hubie yesterday that he was going to rest him today.
Manny Trio handles the ground ball. Uribe with the relay throw. Not in time, so a fielder's choice. 2 out. Terry Francona, the hitter. That's a good point as we look at Manny Trio on this force out. Uribe makes a good play to turn the double play, to get way out of the way of a sliding Tim Raines. And that's the old area play. If you're in the area of second base, you got it. Francona having a fine afternoon. Terry with a couple of hits, 3 RBIs. Tito now has 7 RBIs. He's almost doubled his total. Started the game with 4. Strike called. Bloop to center field. Terry Francona picks up his 3rd hit of the afternoon. Hubie Brooks moves on to second. And runners at first and second. Dan Driessen, the hitter. Expos now have 10 base hits.
Number 22, First baseman, Dan Driessen.
10 hits for the Expos and 9 singles. The only extra base hit by U.B. Brooks, a double. Back in the 3rd inning.
Chili Davis battling the sun and the wind in San Francisco. Makes the catch, and that's all for Dan Driessen. The Expos in the 6th inning. Hit no runs. They had a base hit. Terry Francona's 3rd in the ball game. No errors. 2 were left. After 5.5 innings of play, the Expos 6, the Giants nothing. This is Expo Baseball on TSN.
Children don't run out of energy, but countries can. At
Dave King 250.
The search Canada's future. Petro-Canada, putting Canada first.
Beautiful skies here in San Francisco, and there'll be some action up in Montreal on Tuesday, June 18th. It'll be the Expos Group Special Night at Olympic Stadium. All groups of 30 or more who wish to purchase tickets for the Expos Pirates game will just pay half the regular price for Expo tickets at all levels. Baseball's more fun in groups, so come to Expos Group Special Night on Tuesday, June 18th. Game time, 7:35 p.m. Expos and Pirates. More fun to come out with a few of your friends, as a lot of people have done here in San Francisco in this ball game, and they're not too happy if they're Giant fans. Expos have a 6-0 lead. 10 hits for Montreal, just 1 hit for the San Francisco Giants. Pitcher spot due up. Vida Blue was due to hit, but the Giants will send up a pinch hitter.
Number 1, Rick Adams.
And it'll be number 1, Rick Adams, right-handed batter. Adams just acquired by the Giants, 26-year-old out of California. Adams was down at Phoenix, AAA ball club of the Giants, hitting .305 at Phoenix.
Young infielder. He's off to a good start in AAA.
1-1 to Rick Adams. And he's appeared in 3 games since being recalled and had a good start. Pops this one up, though. Vance Law, don't lose those glasses in San Francisco. 1 down. And that'll bring the top of the order up, Dan Gladden.
Center fielder, Dan Gladden.
So with Vida Blue out of the game, the Giants have righty Scott Gereltz getting ready to come in and pitch in place of Vida Blue. Gladden with the lone hit for the Giants in the ballgame, an infield single in the 3rd inning. So an impressive outing by Mickey Mahler. Now Mickey worked 3 innings against the Dodgers in relief. That was back on June 2nd. So he might be getting a little bit tired as this game goes on. Mickey gave up 4 hits and 3 unearned runs in that outing. U.B. Brooks with the chance to throw out Dan Gladden. He does so. 2 down.
Number 9.
So this has got to be a big plus for Buck Rogers to have a pitcher like Mickey Mahler go out there, and he's throwing a fine ball game.
So far, he's moving into the 6th inning of work, and I'm sure he's very happy to get 6 innings out of his starting pitcher today. Gives the bullpen somewhat of a rest so far.
Well, Jeff Reardon bothered by a little bit of a tender elbow. You know, the game stays as it is.
Especially
Jeff's services would not be needed.
Especially after Monday's game where the bullpen was really worked hard.
15 innings. An easy inning for Mickey Mahler as he retires the Giants. 1-2-3 in the 6th inning. Pop up, a couple of ground outs. The Giants go out in order in the 6th. After 6, Montreal 6, and the Giants nothing. This is Expo Baseball on TSN.
The Sports Network presents the 1985 NCAA Lacrosse Championship game from Browns University, Providence, Rhode Island. On Sunday, June 16th, starting at 3:30 p.m. Eastern. This will be the 3rd consecutive year that Johns Hopkins and Syracuse will meet in the final. In '83, Johns Hopkins won it. In '84, Syracuse took the championship. This year, each team will be out to prove that they're the best. The 1985 NCAA Lacrosse Championships here on the Sports Network.
The Carling O'Keefe Sports Game Star for the Giants receives a beautiful Bulova Quartz watch. Father's Day is June 16th, and what a better way to honor Dad than with a Bulova Quartz watch. Your Bulova dealer is featuring a special Bulova collection of quartz thin, quartz accurate watches for work, or for dress, or for play. And remember, every Bulova Quartz watch is backed by a 2-year guarantee. Bulova and Fathers, a century-old tradition. But you know what, Ken? If you had that Bulova watch here at the stadium, you'd know what time it is. That's the clock at Candlestick. No hands.
Where are the hands of time?
No hands. Well, that clock, tough to see. Some other things aren't too tough to see, though, here at San Francisco. Nice sunny afternoon at the ballpark. And there's more action on TSN. French Open Tennis, Wednesday, June 5th. And that'll be beginning at midnight Eastern Time. French Open Tennis and more tennis. Wimbledon same-day coverage will be coming up starting June 24th. Wallach, Law, and Winningham. Expos 6 runs, 10 hits, no errors. The Giants, no runs, 1 hit, and no errors. Tim Wallach has found it hard to bat here in San Francisco. Just 1 hit. And the new pitcher, right-hander Scott Gereltz. He's done a good job. 1.62 earned run average, 4 saves. Just 19 hits in 33 1/3 innings he's given up.
He has struck out in his last save on May 22nd against the Phillies. He struck out 7 in 3 innings. And for this season, he's been just fantastic out of the bullpen.
Well, he appeared in game 1. He relieved Dave LaPointe. Pitched the 9th and the 10th innings. Game went on to 15th inning. Expos winners 4-2. Good breaking ball. Call strike 3. So Wallach continues to have trouble here in San Francisco. Now 1 for 13. So a day off, a change of ballpark. That's always a good feeling when you're struggling in a series. You know you've always got that next one coming up.
Coming into today, Gereltz had struck out 34 in 33 innings. Fastball over the outside corner.
Vance Law.
Gereltz and Marc Davis, Greg Minton formed a formidable bullpen.
He's a big guy, 6'4", 195s, and a youngster, 23 years of age. And throws hard. Good fastball there out of the strike zone. 2-1 to Vance Law. Well, we've talked about the Giant starters and how they've been doing. Well, the bullpen's been a very pleasurable thing for Jim Davenport and Bob Miller also. With those that you mentioned, Gereltz and Davis, Frank Williams, Greg Minton. Line drive over the head of the new second baseman, Rick Adams. And Vance Law is on with his second hit of the ball game. So Rick Adams stayed in the ball game after his pinch hit appearance.
Number 3.
Moved to second base, and the pitcher Garrelts hitting in trio spot. Who was the second baseman? Well, that'll allow Garrelts to work an inning or two as Herman Winningham steps up. Herman Winningham sends one through the right side. Expos get their 12th hit. Runners at first and second. Sal Butera, the hitter. First hit of the ball game for Winningham.
Number 11, catcher Sal Butera.
So everybody in the lineup except Wallach and Butera with a base hit. Butera with a squeeze bunt in the 4th, so Sal has an RBI, and Wallach is hitless in 4 trips. Inside, gets away from the catcher Trevino, and alertly, Law and Winningham move up. So Alex Trevino just couldn't find the handle. It's a pass ball for the Giant catcher.
This might have been a cross-up. It's a pass ball, and you saw Trevino shift outside, possibly looking for a breaking ball, and the other way you can adjust.
So Sal getting the opportunity to pick up another RBI or two.
I was saying, Tommy, the other way you can adjust, if you call for a fastball and get a curve, you might be able to catch it because it is a slower pitch. You call for a curveball and get a fastball, it's by you before you know it.
You're in trouble. Went around, strike 2, 1-2 to Butera.
The Giants now playing the infield in, trying to cut off another Expo run. Uribe and Adams in at second and short. Rob Deere at first base, even with the bag.
Way in the dirt. That bounced about 4 or 5 feet in front of the plate. A good play by Trevino to hold the runners. Watch where this ball bounces.
This barely makes the dirt in front of home plate.
Didn't even make the screen. 2-2 to Sal Butera. Three and 2 with that breaking ball. On deck, Mickey Mahler. So first base open. Maybe Garrelts will not give Butera much to hit. Breaking ball up high, and he walks him. So the switch hitting Mickey Mahler will step to the plate, and what a day he's had. He can add to it right here. He's pitched a fine game after 6. Expos leading 6-0. He's got himself a base hit, scored a run. And he's up there now after hitting right-handed off Ida Blue. Hit left-handed the first couple of at-bats off Kruko. Back there on the left side. Foul back. He has some good swings.
It's like he knows what he's doing at the plate. The Giant defense is now dropped back into double play depth at the infield. Uribe at short, and Rick Adams now at second base.
Checked his swing there, and Garrelts goes ahead of Mahler, 0-2.
Even with Mahler swinging him fine, taking some fine swings, the Giant outfield is not playing him the pull.
High heater, ball 1, 1-2. Vance Law at third base. Winningham at second. Butera at first. Pop fly. Glasses down. Uribe and Brown. And Uribe's got it. Two outs as the San Francisco shortstop goes away from his shortstop position to make the catch on the pop fly by Mahler. That'll bring up Tim Raines. As Mahler strolls back, we mentioned earlier with Newell Washington coming up with a slight hamstring pull. Noticed in the paper today that Rick Sutcliffe, who pulled a hamstring for the Chicago Cubs and has been out for a couple of weeks, will remain on the disabled list. He threw on the side for about 30 minutes the other day and felt good, but still said he didn't think he could have thrown in a game. So he will remain on the disabled list, and the Cubs continue to play pretty good ball with Sutcliffe out, and Trout has missed a couple of turns, 2 of their top starters. 0-1 to Raines. So everybody experiences injuries, and that's really the team that wins it. Number 1 is a team that gets away from injuries, or number 2, if they do have injuries, they come through and play well.
Have a strong bench.
In spite of the injuries. Foul back. And right now, the Mets and the Cubs both playing pretty good baseball with a few injuries.
And the Expos, too.
The Expos are, too. Had a few guys out and continue to battle the opposition.
Timmy Raines, 2 for 2, been on base 4 consecutive times. 2 singles his first 2 times up, followed by 2 base on balls.
Out of play. And again, speaking about the Expos, so many people have come up to me, different press people, people who follow the ball club, who see the club on a day-in, day-out basis, and who have seen the clubs in the past, really are happy about the way the guys are getting along. A lot of good camaraderie with the Expos this year. And that helps.
Get that winning atmosphere in your clubhouse.
Clubhouse is loose. The
confidence.
Plane rides are loose. Everybody's having a good time, and it makes for good winning baseball.
A lot of that stems right from the manager, Buck Rogers.
Sure does.
The atmosphere created in the clubhouse can start with your manager. Instill confidence in your ball players. When you have a tough loss, come into the clubhouse and tell them to come back and bounce back the next day. Forget it.
And there's Buck Rogers.
But also it works the other way. When you're on a winning streak, tell everybody not to get too overconfident. You got to bear down.
Tim Raines is bearing down. Count still 1-2. Bryn Smith is throwing in the bullpen for the Expos. Bryn just getting some work in between starts. Bryn will be the starter in Saturday's game in Philadelphia. He'll be opposed by Shane Raleigh. But on Friday's game, we'll have it for you on TSN. David Palmer and Steve Carlton, 8 o'clock Eastern Time. Two and 2 to Tim Raines.
Bases loaded. 2 down. The Expos trying to add to a 6-0 lead.
There's a 2-2 pitch. And the new second baseman, Rick Adams, gets a try. And he makes the out, and that's all for the Expos in the 7th. No runs, a couple of base hits. Law and Winningham. No errors, 3 runners left. 6.5 innings have gone by at Candlestick Park in San Francisco. And the Expos lead the Giants 6-0. This is Expo Baseball on TSN.
To make it in baseball, you have to do at least one thing better than anybody else. With me, it was getting hit by a pitch. Now, this is a sure hit, too. It's Miller Lite. It's brewed right here in Canada. Light tastes great. It tastes less filling. After getting hit by all those pitches, it's sure nice to make a pitch for a hit.
Hey, sign this one.
Light beer from Miller, now brewed in Canada. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
When Petro-Canada looked for a better way to maintain offshore rigs, the job went to Canadians. This is Deep Rover, a world-class submarine that can turn giant valves on the ocean floor and make deep water repairs a lot easier. Petro-Canada's 2-year exploration contract helped make Deep Rover a commercial reality, creating new jobs and new markets for Canadian technology.
From the energy frontier to the station around the corner, we put Canada first.
On Sunday, June 30th, as the Expos host the Philadelphia Phillies, it'll be Expos Sergas Sports Bag Day at Olympic Stadium. First 25,000 spectators to enter the stadium will receive a practical sports bag, compliments of the Montreal Expos and Sergas. So don't miss the June 30th game scheduled for 1:35 p.m. and get your Expos Sergas Sports Bag. Beautiful day at the stadium here in San Francisco. And we ran into a guy the other day, Ken, after the ball game, and he was an usher in the upper deck. and he was excited. The most exciting day he'd had. He'd found something that a fan left. He found an old cushion for a seat, and he was saying, I can't believe it's the first time I've ever found anything in the upper deck.
It looked like a cushion that was from the All-Star game that was played here last year.
Yeah, I think it was left over. That was the last time fans were in the upper deck. But there's a pretty good crowd here. There are some fans in the upper deck behind the home plate area, but as you see, not out in deep center field and left field and right field. And in all fairness to the San Francisco fans, a much better crowd this afternoon. But that was funny. He was excited. First time he'd ever found anything. Chili Davis leading it off, a play for Wallach. He's got him at first. We had to look close at that seat cushion. We weren't sure if it was from the All-Star game last year, or if it had a San Francisco 49er logo on it.
Mickey Mahler sailing along.
Number 20.
It's now retired 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 in a row.
10 in a row, just one hit. An infield single by Dan Gladden in the third. So Mickey Mahler cruising along with a one-hitter. He's done that himself. He got a hit in the fourth. Of course, we should mention the San Francisco 49ers, defending Super Bowl champs, play here at Candlestick. One of the reasons they have grass here now is when the artificial turf was here, they had a pretty good running back by the name of O.J. Simpson, and he kind of liked running on grass better, so I guess they figured the franchise and O.J. Simpson, they better go back with the natural surfaces.
Cushion the fall.
We had a lot of pull. 1-1 to Jeff Leonard.
Tommy, the last 2 days, Monday and Tuesday, we had mentioned that the Giants had lost more games than any other team when they scored the first run, but the Giants were also the comeback kings of the National League. They won 15 games in which they trailed after the 6th inning. And 2 of the last 3 years they've led in that category, so they're an exciting team one way or the other.
1-2, the count stays to Jeff Leonard.
They're going to need a big comeback today, though, 6-0.
That's right. As Mickey Mahler continues to throw a masterful game here. Has 4 strikeouts, has walked just 1, and has given up the 1 base hit. Off-speed pitches, he's mixed things up. He's come in with some fastballs, thrown some sliders, a good curveball. Mickey's had some good minor league years. 77 in Richmond with the Braves. He won 13 games, won 14 for Portland in 1980. And before being called up this year, was 4-1 at Indianapolis. So the 32-year-old veteran having a fine afternoon here in San Francisco. Yeah, good career mark against the Giants, 3-0 lifetime. There's that fastball, trying to get Leonard to go upstairs and chase it, but he laid off. And the count's full, 3-2. Jeff Leonard now 2 for 23. Tim Raines will wander under this one, makes the catch. Ball seemed like he hit it off the fist just a little bit, didn't get it all. Timmy Raines making the play.
Number 28, first baseman Rob Deere.
Well, we also know that Mickey Mahler has good taste in restaurants. As we were leaving,
that's right,
our restaurant.
Mickey and his wife and Gary Lucas and his wife Taffy were dining at the same spot we picked. Nice seafood place over on the famous wharf here in San Francisco, Fisherman's Wharf. Rob Deere fouls it back. Deere 0 for 2.
Maybe should eat there all the time.
Yeah. Last time Mahler appeared in a major league game was in '82 with the California Angels. Pitched in 6 games, all in relief.
Mickey Mahler's last win was July 28th, 1979 against the Cincinnati Reds, his last big league win.
As a starter.
As a starter.
Fouled off by Deere. And it counts 2-2 to the big Giant first baseman.
Look at the Giant dugout. Not too happy today.
Well, 12 hitters in a row have been retired. By Mickey Mahler. 2-2 pitch. Foul back. Six runs, 12 hits, no errors for the Expos. No runs, 1 hit, and no errors for the Giants. Slow curveball. Tapped at the plate. Count stays 2-2. Gee, we've talked about the weather. We've talked about the great restaurants, the cable cars. How about our crack crew here in San Francisco? Bang-up job.
All the great camera shots that you've all been enjoying for the last 3 afternoons.
All the replays.
Right on the money every time.
And trying to make it 2 out of 3 for Expo fans. Here's a 3-2 pitch. Just missing, ball 4. So after retiring 12 in a row, Mickey Mahler walks his second batter of the ball game. 2 away. Chris Brown will be the hitter.
Third baseman Chris Brown.
Only the 3rd man to reach base for the San Francisco Giants in today's ball game.
The infield single by Gladden, a walk in the first inning to Manny Trio, and the walk right here to Rob Deere. So again, with Mickey going 3 innings in Los Angeles on Sunday, might be getting a little tired. Right about now, though, he's got the adrenaline going with a 6-0 lead. He gets Chris Brown to pop this one high in the air. Foul territory. Driessen with the glove on it. A nice little pat from Vance Law. And that's all for the Giants in the 7th. No runs, no hits, no errors. 1 runner left after 7 innings of play. The Expos 6 and the Giants nothing. This is Expo Baseball on TSN. And now let's go to TSN Control for this sports break with Steve Cooney.
Thank you, Tom. Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, one other baseball game being played in the majors this afternoon. That's in the National League as well. They're in the bottom of the 11th inning. The Chicago Cubs and Atlanta Braves are all tied up at 2 apiece. The National Basketball Association Championship Series resumes tonight in Los Angeles, with the Lakers leading the Boston Celtics 2-1. After dropping the opener by 34 points, the Lakers have come back to win 2 in a row and assume the series lead. Second-seeded Yvonne Lendl and third-seeded Jimmy Connors have both moved into the semifinals of the French Open Tennis Championships. Connors and Lendl will face each other in one semi, while the other will pit top-seeded John McEnroe against Sweden's Mats Wilander. According to Federal Sports Minister Otto Jelinek, Canada will not host any major international sports events for the rest of this decade, with the exception of the 1988 Calgary Winter Olympics. The decision is a product of the Conservative government's restraint policies. Tonight, the Blue Jays play against Minnesota at Exhibition Stadium. Now back to Candlestick Park.
Lots of baseball on TSN, as well as the Expos. The Toronto Blue Jays will be playing the Detroit Tigers Thursday, June 6th, 7:30 Eastern Time. The Blue Jays now with a 5-game lead over the Baltimore Orioles. Detroit trying to gain a little ground. Detroit 6.5 back.
And who is tied with Detroit? The New York Yankees.
Number 7.
Moving up.
The Yankees have been making a move ever since Billy Martin took over. Well, a partial score in the National League this afternoon. Chicago and Atlanta tied up in the 10th inning. Game starting pitchers in that game. Scott Sanderson for Chicago, Steve Shields of Atlanta. Hubie Brooks, the hitter. Hubie takes the first pitch. It's a strike. Breaking ball hit sharply to Rob Deere. The big guy gets his body in front of it, scoops it up. One away. So since coming into the ball game, Hubie has walked, and he hit into a fielder's choice and grounded out. 0 for 2.
Replacing UL Washington, who came up with a hamstring pull. A slight hamstring pull of the right leg. Trying to score on a base hit by this man.
Sometimes the best thing to do is, and in a situation like that, this UL could do it, is to get out of the game, get that ice on it. Hopefully he will be all right for Friday night's game in Philadelphia.
While he was in the game, UL had a single and a double. Driven in a run.
Well, as we mentioned, a much better crowd here this afternoon. 5,843 paid, 6,447 total. Uribe tosses out Francona. Terry's retired, but is 3 for 5 in the ball game. So Tuesday afternoon's game had 3,800 and 15. Monday night, 3,835. So a much better crowd here at Candlestick on this sunny Wednesday.
Temperature goes up, the attendance goes up.
Temperature in the 70s. Dan Driessen, the hitter. Call strike from Gereltz. Swing and a miss by Dan. You know, not too often, Ken, do you go through a 3-game series, especially one of those games going 15 innings, and not see a home run. Leonard moves in on the line drive off the bat of Driessen. Puts it away one-handed. That's all for the Expos. 8th inning. No runs, no hits, and no errors. After 7.5. The Expos 6, the Giants nothing. This is Expo Baseball on TSN.
Everybody said Stickum was the key to my football success. Yeah, sure. But if I could touch it, I could catch it. Stickum or no Stickum. Like I was one of the first to catch on that Miller Lite is brewed right here in Canada. Light tastes great, and it tastes less filling. So if you're like me, when something great comes along, you stick to it. I mean, with it.
Light beer from Miller, now brewed in Canada. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
The second issue of the baseball magazine is now on sale. Expos manager Buck Rogers, newcomer Vance Law, and the Expos most valuable reserve Jim Wolford are featured along with short articles on Hall of Famer Roy Campanella, the Expos Caravan, and Dan Driessen's most memorable game. Back issues are also available. So to get your copy of the baseball magazine, send a check or money order for $4 per copy to Expos Baseball Magazine, Montreal Club Limited, Post Office Box 500, Station M, Montreal, Quebec, H1V 3P2, Expos Baseball Magazine. Expos have made a couple of changes, moving Terry Francona out of right field and into first base. And now playing out in right field, Jim Wolford. So Wolford will bat in Driessen's spot. Alex Trevino batting right here off Mickey Mahler. 8th inning action. There's Francona at first base. So Terry moving in, getting a little closer to the action. And Jim Wolford checking the sun, checking the wind, which is what you have to do in San Francisco. Way inside to Trevino. Wolford from Visalia, California. Not too far from San Francisco.
I played in Visalia, California League.
Lives in Atascadero now.
Very nice town.
A little bit south. Where Jim has some relatives in attendance. Count 2-2 to Alex Trevino. Mickey Mahler trying to go to the distance. Got a one-hitter going. In the hole, backhanded by Brooks. Long throw to Francona in time. Good play by Hubie Brooks.
Watch at the tail end of this ball as it arrives near Hubie Brooks. Kind of bounces up high. He has to raise his glove up. Good strong overhand throw. Plenty of time to get Trevino, who is not the fastest runner on the Giants.
But you know what? Better to raise that glove up. Get it down and raise it up than to have to go down on it. A good play by Hubie Brooks. Uribe, the hitter. Well, let's see. Uribe had the 2 hits in the ball game Tuesday, 3 RBIs, and decided not to attend the sports enhancement program that the Giants put on. He sends a line shot. Second baseman Vance Law. Vance, probably the best all-around athlete on the club, got up for it, made a good stab. 2 outs.
You saw Vance signal with his fingers as he signals 2 outs to the outfield. He gives a little signal that he got off about 3 inches off the ground on this line drive, but actually it looks about 4 or 5 inches as he gets up, makes the play.
I did that one time, and Larry Boa yelled over to me, "Another foot and you would have been off the ground." Rick Adams gets his second at bat in the ball game. He was a pinch hitter in the 6th, popped up. Mentioning the Giant attendance, 5,843. The total for the 3 days, total attendance here at Candlestick, 13,593, and that is well off what the Giants have been averaging. They've been averaging 15,000 a game, but they did not get it this series. Here's a shot at Mickey Mahler's 0-2 pitch. Curveball. He chased it. The tag by Butera. Strikeout number 5 for Mickey Mahler. The Giants have still just gotten 1 hit off the Expo left-hander. 32-year-old Mickey Mahler in the 8th for San Francisco. They go out in order. No runs, no hits, no errors. After 8, the Expos 6. The Giants, nothing. This is Expo Baseball on TSN.
Hello, everybody. I'm Brad Diamond, and I'm your host each week on the world of horse racing. There's more to horse racing than a start and a finish and a $2 bet. And the world of horse racing will take you behind the scenes to meet the people that make a racetrack such a unique and fascinating community. That's the world of horse racing, Friday nights on the Sports Network.
Watch the world of horse racing with host Brad Diamond, Fridays here on the Sports Network.
100.
International dart competition pits the best of England against the rest of the world. Saturday, June the 8th on the Sports Network.
2-4s.
Join us and watch how the best in the world do it with teams from the U.S., Australia, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. England versus the rest of the world, Saturday, June 8th at 1:30 p.m. Eastern, here on the Sports Network.
Every fan wants to know more about the players. Expos have just what you're looking for. 1985 Media Guide, most complete source of information on the Expos players. And the 1985 yearbook, superb color pictures of Expo players and the entire coaching staff. To get your copy, send a check or money order of $5 for each to Expos publication, Montreal Baseball Club Limited, Post Office Box 500, Station M, Montreal, Quebec, H1V 3P2. Expo Publications. New pitcher for the San Francisco Giants as we go to the 9th, left-hander Marc Davis. And again, another fine reliever for the Giants. He's been doing a good job out of the bullpen.
Leads all
fastball.
Pretty good fastball. You're right, Tommy. Leads all major league relief pitchers with 49 strikeouts, and he struck out those 49 hitters in only 34 innings pitched.
So he's got a good fastball and a good breaking ball, and he's found a home out of the bullpen. Last year, as a starter with the Giants, he had a nightmarish type year. Hit deep to left by Wallach. Back for it, and again the wind bringing it back to Jeff Leonard, the left fielder. So Wallach hit it well. Leonard went to the fence and got help from the wind. A long out.
Number 2, second baseman, Vance Law.
Watch Marc Davis after he releases his pitch. He doesn't even want to look where it's going.
He thought it was out.
Saved by the breeze.
Saved by the elements. Vance Law steps in. I was saying how Davis has found a home in the bullpen as a starter last year for the Giants. He'd like to just forget about 1984. 5 wins, 17 losses. But again, another pitcher that has worked with Bob Miller and has now found a home in the Giants bullpen.
You know, sometimes they go over the stats. They see pitcher might have fared well the first couple of innings of a ball game, but then kind of blew out in third and fourth, maybe fifth inning. Time for the switch to the bullpen.
Well, we talked about the fastball that he has, and he has a good breaking ball. There was a period a few weeks ago when the Giants were playing the Mets, and Marc Davis threw 23 consecutive breaking balls to retire Met hitters. Two and 1 to Vance Law. One down, top of the ninth, 6-0 Expos lead. There's the pitch to Vance. There's that sharp breaking ball, and it's inside. He loses him. Vance on base for the 4th time. Vance flied out in the 2nd inning, then singled in the 4th, walked in the 5th.
Number 3,
singled in the 7th, and now walked right here in the 9th. So Scott Kureltz, the right-hander, worked 2 innings, gave up just 2 hits, no runs, strikeout, and a walk. Krukow started, gave up 5 runs and 7 hits in 3 2/3 innings. The other run coming off Vida Blue. Expos lead 6-0. Winningham singled in the 7th. 2-0 to Herman. And for the Expos, it's been all Mickey Mahler. He's worked 8 innings. He's given up just 1 hit, an infield single by Gladden. 5 strikeouts and 2 walks. Call strike to Winningham. Call strike 2. Well, with a 6-0 lead, first baseman Rob Deere playing behind the runner. He goes there now. He was there even before the count went 3-2. And there's a good shot of Mickey Mahler, 32-year-old left-hander. And Davis strikes out Winningham. To add to that total,
catcher Sal Butera.
that he's already compiled this year. That's his 50th strikeout. He's working in his 35th inning. Sal Butera takes low. Sal 0 for 2, a squeeze bunt in the 4th to bring home a run, and that was a big play. He lines this one, and the second baseman Rick Adams moves back. He makes the play. In the 9th inning, the Expos, no runs, no base hits, no errors, 1 runner left. And after 8½, the Expos 6, the San Francisco Giants nothing. This is Expo Baseball on TSN.
You're the Canada in Petro-Canada. You own the place. You're the Canada in Petro-Canada. You're
frontier to the station around the corner. We put Canada first.
Ever get a letter from a secret admirer? Well, don't let your girlfriend find it.
Not my bad! Oh, come on!
Or your parents.
You call this nothing!
To know who this person is.
Oh, Debbie. Or her boyfriend.
Steven, long time no see.
Or anyone else if you know what's good for you.
Think I gotta write her another one?
Secret admirer.
Coming soon to a theater near you. Check your local listings.
Expos take a 6-0 lead as we move to the bottom of the 9th inning. It'll be the top of the order for the Giants. Gladden, then the pitcher's spot. Garrelt's due up. We'll see a pinch hitter. And then Chili Davis. So Mickey Mahler working on a one-hitter. Veteran left-hander mixing up his pitches all afternoon has had Giant hitters off balance. This year, pitching down at Indianapolis, Mickey Mahler had one complete game in his 8 starts. He's trying to shut the door right here on the Giants.
He's facing the man that has the only hit today for the Giants, Dan Gladden.
One and 0 to Gladden.
Gladden flied to center, singled in the 3rd inning.
And that's been it.
Short.
That's been it. The only base hit off Mickey Mahler. Going into this game, the best Expo pitching performance this year, a 5-hitter. Bill Gullickson, Steve Rogers turned that trick. Gladden sends this one in the air. Right fielder Jim Wolford on his knees with the glasses down. 1 away.
Number 22, David Greene, Davis.
So the pinch hitter for Marc Davis will be David Greene.
Your attention, please.
David Greene coming over in a deal along with Dave LaPointe from the St. Louis Cardinals. Jack Clark moving on to St. Louis. David Greene, a lot of potential. Hasn't really lived up to it so far in the major leagues.
Well, the last time Mickey Mahler completed a major league game was back in 1979, right here at Candlestick Park, and he was a winner 4-1. So Mickey Mahler has certainly pitched well this afternoon, and he likes pitching in San Francisco. Mickey Mahler working to David Greene. Greene hitting at 174, and he's been a disappointment in coming over from the St. Louis Cardinals in the Jack Clark trade, along with Dave LaPointe, Jose Uribe. David Greene has been a disappointment, not even starting the last couple of games. Last win as a starter, as we mentioned before, July 28th, 1979 for Mickey Mahler. Slow curveball. 3-2 to David Greene.
David Greene hitting 174. And that was the reason why he's been relegated to the bench.
Fouled off the glove of Butera. The count stays 3-2.
David Greene from Managua, Nicaragua.
Say that well. Must have taken some Spanish in school. Huh?
Well, I had a former teammate, Dennis Martinez from Nicaragua.
Chases an off-speed pitch. Mickey Mahler gets his 6th strikeout.
Mickey Mahler to the fastball. Down in the strike zone.
Number 30.
David Greene back to the bench again. Mickey Mahler, similar style to that of former Expo left-hander Ross Grimsley. Remind you of Ross?
A little bit. Changes speeds. Might not use as much foreign substance as Ross does. I don't think he uses any. Good fastball. Strike one. Ross had a way of dipping into certain areas and making the ball do funny things.
On a day where the Expos bullpen really needed a rest, Mickey Mahler has supplied that well-needed respite to the pitching staff of the Expos by being 1 out away from a complete ball game. A one-hit shutout.
Pitch hit to center by Chili Davis. That should be it. Herman Winningham puts it away, and Mickey Mahler pitches a one-hit shutout against the San Francisco Giants. Mickey Mahler, after coming in and pitching 3 innings of relief in Los Angeles, gets the call here at Candlestick and does the job. 3 up and 3 down for the Giants in the 9th inning, and Mickey Mahler pitches a one-hit shutout, had 6 strikeouts, walked just 2, the only base hit of the ball game in the 3rd inning, an infield single by Dan Gladden. So Mickey Mahler, 32-year-old veteran, 6'3", 190 pounds, a one-hitter in San Francisco. He's now 4-0 lifetime against the Giants. And as we said, his last win as a starter back in 1979. Mickey Mahler being congratulated by teammates as he tossed a beauty. A one-hit shutout against the Giants. Raines a couple of base hits. Francona a big day with 3. So the Expos defeat the Giants at Candlestick 6-0. This is Expo Baseball on TSN.
Every time you fill up at your neighborhood Petro-Canada station, you're pumping your money back into Canadian jobs, back into new opportunities for Canadian industry and technology, back into the ongoing search for Canadian energy. And to every Canadian who thinks that all gasoline stations are the same, Petro-Canada offers an alternative. Pump your money back into Canada. It goes a long way. Petro-Canada, putting Canada first.
Goalies are really the glamour guys of hockey.
We got it all.
Good looks, good taste.
We even drink Miller Lite.
Light is brewed right here in Canada.
We like it because it tastes great.
No, we like it because it tastes less filling.
Tastes great.
Tastes less filling.
Tastes great.
Tastes less filling.
Hey, wait, we better stop this.
Yeah, we don't want to take a chance at hurting our good looks.
No, you said.
Light beer from Miller, now brewed in Canada. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
Expos Baseball on TSN, brought to you by Carling O'Keefe Sports, bringing the sports world home to you. And by Petro-Canada, dealers and agents across Canada, putting Canada first.
The Expos on TSN is a production of the Sports Network and is protected by copyright. Any use of this broadcast without permission is prohibited. Our Carling O'Keefe Sports game stars, no doubt, Mickey Mahler, a one-hit shutout, and for the Giants, their only hit, Dan Gladden. The final score once again in San Francisco, the Expos 6 and the Giants nothing. Winning pitcher, Mickey Mahler, as we mentioned, a one-hit shutout for the left-hander. Our next telecast will be Friday, June 7th, 8 o'clock Eastern Time. The Expos and the Philadelphia Phillies, David Palmer and Steve Carlton. So from San Francisco, we leave the West Coast, head east. This is Tommy Hutton with Ken Singleton saying so long.